Hello, hello. It's your girl, Shawn Ray, and welcome back to Boss Talk. And y'all know what that means. It's time for my song. That's why I was muted. It switched over to mute. You know how Apple does its whole collective everything. So I'm trying to talk to my producer in my ear, but it connects to the computer and then shuts me down. So sorry about that, y'all, but we're getting it together now. Thumbs up me now if you can hear me, Mr. Seals or Soror Terry. Can you hear me? Holla if you can hear me. Holla if you can hear me, y'all. Let me know. So I will start over. I will say that this is Love Month. This is February, and today is the day. It is Valentine's Day. And if you are single and you're a woman, then you can reach out to your sisters and celebrate Galentine's Day because sisterhood is very important. So if you read the show notes, I talked about how the world in which we live today, you can go down the street and be walking by someone and they might not even speak to you because we're so caught up these days. We're caught up in our phones, in our thoughts, in our businesses, all the things that we have going on that we don't acknowledge one another anymore. And I am a love girl. I love love. I love the idea of love. I love the feeling of love. I love love among friends. I love romantic love. And after all, y'all, I'm a marriage family therapist. So it makes sense, right? So this is Valentine's Day. And I got to tell you, I met a gentleman at at an event, at a wedding event. I had attended the day before a wedding that he had produced. And we used to be wedding coordinators and wedding consultants, but not no more, y'all. No, 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 no. We are wedding producers. And I want y'all to get that right, because weddings are a production nowadays. Not just weddings, all galas and events are going more and more out and are getting more and more creative. And so the gentleman who is my guest tonight is the quintessential creator. And so I want to tell you a little bit about him before I bring him on. So we are so blessed and honored to have in the house tonight William P. Miller. And he is known for his creative vision and versatility. WP has traveled the world producing breathtaking events, from intimate receptions to spectacular galas and lavish weddings. Since 1999, his entertainment production company, WP Miller Special Events, has been a sought after one-stop shop, handling all aspects of event planning, everything from custom invitation design to overall visual conceptualization and production management. His trend-setting event designs and spectacular events have appeared in such national publications as Bride Magazine, People, Lifestyle, Ebony Jet, In Style Magazine, and many others. He has also appeared in many network television shows, including OWN's Raising Whitley, Entertainment Tonight, Whose Wedding Is It Anyway?, Married Away, as well as on international television, French network program 100% Mag. Known as the go-to guy for event planning among the nation's elite, WP has planned social events for such luminaries as First Lady Michelle Obama and Senior Presidential Advisor Valerie Jarrett. In addition to Senators Christian Gillibrand, Tim Kaine, Harry Reid, Cory Booker, and former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. He has also earned the trust of Hollywood's who's who, including Academy Award-winning actor Mira Sorvino, Holly Robinson, Pete, Niecy Nash, Kim Whitley, Wendy Raquel Robinson, Layla Rashawn Fuqua, Cheryl Lee Ralph, Omarosa Stallworth, Megan Good, Tasha Smith, and others. A native of Chicago, WP is based in Los Angeles, but his work is global in scope. So before I say another word, indeed without another word from me, y'all, please welcome William P. Miller to B.O.S.S Talk. And now the thing is,
Sean Lorraine, thank you
what's
so much.
happening? William,
Here,
there you are.
I'm here.
Okay.
I have to take a moment after hearing you read that bio. My God.
Well, indeed. I had to take a moment myself. It's quite impressive, sir.
Yeah, God is good. God is good.
All the doggone
Awesome.
time.
God is good.
And we have to mention another part of Hollywood's who's who, my dear sister Vanessa Bell Calloway, as you just became the family event planner with my niece Allie Calloway Prince, and her and Zach Prince's wedding.
That wedding was it was a perfect. We had that wedding the day after Thanksgiving, and it wasn't the last event that I did for 2023. It was the last wedding I did, and it was just a perfect celebration of love, and what a way to end the year. And they were just such a joy to work with. Such love filled the air. Such great people. Such stylish people, and people who just really love them dearly. I mean, every one of her, and you were one of those included, was Allie, this is auntie this person, this is auntie Star. I'm like, well, how many aunties does one person have?
Well, if you must know, the auntie brunch the day after the wedding consisted of 26 aunties. 26 aunties. Now, Vanessa's sisters are myself and Elaine.
Yes.
But her sisters
Right.
24 other beautiful, amazing women
Right.
who are Hollywood and business and everything that you can imagine in between.
Right. Right. I loved it. It was just awesome. It was great. It was wonderful.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Now, Allie's style, of course, has just watching Allie grow up and knowing her, she's always produced like simple elegance. That has been her from childhood.
Yeah.
And so I love how you were able to capture that for her.
First, this is an interesting thing because if you know the dynamics of the family, Vanessa is going to be the one to act like she's going to really run everything. And so, I had to learn, okay, I got to, appease to all audiences there. And so I remember the one day that Vanessa and I spent about, maybe an hour or two at one of my vendors selecting some items for what we were going to, have the guests experience.
Uh-huh.
Said when I picked up on Allie having her sense of style and stuff, I said, you need to come on over here. So we totally switched the game up. And Allie, she picked out the room was, was really curated with 3 different looks, 3 different tables, 3 different type of chairs, 3 different type of china set. And when you have all of those components, it takes like you said, a production to bring it all together to give it like one look and feel under one roof. And we certainly did that. I mean, Allie's style is just, it was incredible. I mean, even like the bridal shower that we did. I mean, she she went in there and what I like working with her is that she wasn't a person that always to know what she wanted, but she knew what she did not want.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she also kept her guest at the center of the attention. I want to make sure that my guest feels a certain way. I want my guests to have this experience and the experience of, what they saw, what they smell, what they touch. All of that was important to her, and those things are important to me. So I really, really enjoyed working with her. It was just like a match made in heaven.
Oh, it appeared so. It really did. Now, let me ask you, who chose the venue? Who found that place?
That's a good question. Okay, so this is how the venue went. We went from, they got engaged on a Friday night. We met at another venue that Saturday morning because Vanessa and all the aunties, y'all knew that he was going to do the proposal prior to Allie knowing. And so we had already set up one venue. And then someone in one of the members of the village suggested to Vanessa to consider the Majestic. And we went down there and we saw it and they was like, this is awesome. And I was like, yes, and awesome. This is awesome place, is regal and all of that. But this place to work in here, I don't know. We're going to have to do some work to make it happen.
Yeah.
And we did that. It was great.
It was, it had the givings already of like Gothic, like elegant, like I don't even know all the words, like high regal, just with the high ceilings and the archways and the stairways and all of that. And I am sure that I don't know the half of what that building has because it seems so huge. But I know that, were we in 3 different places or 2 and they switched one around?
So it was really the history behind the building is that it's an old Bank of America building. And that building has been location for a lot of movies, particularly Set It Off. If you remember Set It Off.
Was that the bank building?
That was the bank building, and Blair Underwood's office was up on the 2nd floor, and he looked down. That was the building. And so what tied me into that a little bit, I had my own moment of seeing that. I was like, okay. And Vivica Fox, who was at the wedding, I was like, did she ever have any scenes in this here? Does this tie back to her with doing some of the things she's done over the years? But it's a bank building. So that's why one side had the vault, which was a real vault.
Oh my gosh.
It was a real bank vault. And then on the lower level, that's the area where you saw some of the other vault and careful things that a bank would have. And
I
so
love
in that,
it.
we had to just make it into a venue space. But that's the beauty of when you're planning a wedding and you're telling your love story. I've always encouraged my clients to tell their love story. Find things that really works for them, whether it's a museum, whether it's an outdoor oceanfront wedding. Find some things that's a good platform to project you two the love that you have for each other.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and Mr. Prince is an investment banker, I think, or something of
So,
that.
so think about that. He's an investment banker. We're in a bank.
How about that?
Right.
I
Okay.
love it.
Yeah, he's an investment banker. We're in the bank, and of course, with Ali's being tied to Hollywood,
Yes.
we're now in the whole production. We're going to bring this Hollywood love story to life.
Yes. And you know what? Also, it had such, I think, a character. The whole venue had character from entering, the way that the space was, the way the wedding itself was set up. It just showed character, the long aisles, all of that. It was just so beautiful and very much like, it created a memory even for us as guests. You know what I mean? So I can imagine the memory that they will hold forever and ever and a day.
Well, I hope that they do, and I believe that they will because like I've been speaking with Ali as well as Zach, about their special day, and of course Vanessa as well. I told them from the onset we want to tell your love story. She went to Spelman. He attended Morehouse. She's an Alpha Kappa Alpha. He's a member of Omega Psi Phi. So, how do we put all of those things together and tell the story? So, if you notice, we began on the wedding side. That whole style was white. It was they wanted to keep that traditional, keep that private. That was their private moment. One of the things that we had for the wedding, it was an unplugged ceremony in which guests were not allowed to have their cell phones for video recordings or even photography. We kept that white, and that was pretty traditional, and it was a perfect setting for the hundreds. Was it 11 bridesmaids, 11 grooms, all of that? Yes. So, that was very traditional. And then afterwards, we went over to the other side where the reception was going to be, and people, party. Ali changed dress to this.
Yes.
She re-entered, shared some of her culture, her family background of homage to Louisiana with entering second line dance, and
yes, that was so great.
that was great, and the confetti falling, and then you AKAs doing your stroll, the cues.
The cues getting down with it.
I don't even know if you know this, and this is one thing about weddings. Sometimes on the wedding day, you just have to let things take its own course. Do you know they never cut the cake?
You know what? That's hilarious.
They never cut the wedding cake.
I did hear that later.
They never cut the wedding cake because after they did their cute things, it was like, oh, we going the party. It was just
turned into a whole party. I mean, yeah, it was one of the things too that I remember. And I also think back to Vanessa's wedding, and that's the one thing we came to partay. And hers did the same thing. Hers turned into a big old party, and that's what this was. And them young folks was having a whole ball, and us elderly folks
was having a ball too. You were having a ball too.
Yeah, if you look at some of the video, you will see me out there doing and dancing and trying to keep right on up with it. It was
the elderly folks really danced to the band, and the young folks danced to the DJ.
Yes. Now, what was the name of that band?
Oh Lord. Okay, the band was. It'll come back to me in a second.
Yeah, when you remember, let me know, because they were awesome. Yes. They were amazing. That young lady was singing, and that band was so good.
G-Mac and Asia Ray. When you said the lady, I had to think of her name.
Okay.
Asia, the continent, G-Mac and Asia Ray, they were wonderful. They came to entertain audience and entertain. I mean, I think it was The first one to the dance floor, if I'm not mistaken, was Mr. Johnson and his wife Cookie.
Yes, him and Cookie. That's right. They did. They did open it up, and then Debbie and Norm got out there. And
Yeah, yeah. And so, so I'm telling you about another thing about that wedding that I didn't realize until the day of. So, of course, we had already did the wedding rehearsal the day before. And so many of Allie's bridesmaids said, "Oh, we need to run through it again." And they were in dresses and everything. And I was like, well, y'all went through it yesterday. Not much has changed. And one of them looked at me and she said, the majority of us are from Dada, Debbie Allen's Dance Academy. We want to make sure that everything is perfect. So we need to roll through it again. And I said, okay, I got it.
They got that on straight from Debbie. Let's roll it again.
Theatrical there, and they also, with so many of them, and generally you always think that you're going to have an issue with one bridesmaids or groomsmen when you go for about the number of 7. But I have to say that all of these young ladies, they really loved Allie. They wanted her day to be perfect for her. None of them tried to upshine her. They were all obedient to the instructions that my team and I gave. They were where they were supposed to be at the time we asked for them to be there. And, they showed up and showed out for her. I was so happy for that.
Yeah, and it was apparent. It was so apparent. I was telling people, I was like, I guess one of the requirements to be in this wedding or be even at the wedding was you must be beautiful. Because that was a room full of beautiful folks, was it not?
It's a beautiful size and a size 2.
There you go. Every one of them. And what I love too about it is those young ladies have been with Allie since they were 2 and 3 and 4 at Dada. And so, the aunties are Dada moms and, all of that. So it was really beautiful. And it really, as big and grand of a production that it was, you can still feel the warmth and the love in the room. Now, I know part of that has to do with who they were, but how do you help to facilitate keeping the heart in such a large production?
Well, I think the first part of it is listening. And so I have to listen to who and identify who are all of the major players that goes into having a say as to what's going to happen. And then sometimes I end up being your profession. I'm almost like the therapist and say, hey, we have to make this make sense.
Yeah.
And actually, when I first take on a client, I always let them know that I'm going to have conversations with other people that may not include you, but it's for you.
Okay, got it.
So if you're the bride, believe me, I'm going to talk to the groom and maybe the maid of honor, somebody else to help you. The groom, I'm going to talk to somebody else, but it's all for you. But it's so that sometimes you have to get, people hear people differently.
Yes, indeed.
And I know that because that's just like me. My mother tell me one thing, I hear her, but when that aunt used to tell me something, I heard it differently.
Right. That's so true. That is so true.
Right. Yeah. And so then, when we find out, who the players are, and we make sure that they have the best interest of the bride and groom in the center, it's generally an easy process from that. And then also the other thing is that everyone else always have their needs. So let's just say generally the father of the bride is like, y'all, that looks good, that's perfect, but watch how you're spending my money.
Yeah. Be real careful.
Right. Or people would say, so I would say even in this case here, it was interesting with the cake didn't get cut. Allie and Zach that wasn't at the top of their list, the cake.
Right.
But the bar had more of that was more important to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, we had to make sure we had the right bartenders there, that there were no guests waiting in line. Once the ceremony was over, we had the specialty cocktails prepared and available for the guests to enjoy. Those smaller details like that was important to them.
Yeah.
And all of that is a part of the production.
Yes. Hey, Soror Lanny. That's my sans there. Out for She says, love talking wedding.
Weddings, yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
But
Now,
you know what? The other thing too. Let me just chime in on this with Lorraine. First of all, I always let my clients know wedding is an option. You don't need a wedding to get married.
this
You
is
can go
true,
down to the city hall to have a marriage,
right?
and you're legally binded. So if we're going to do a wedding, we're going to do a wedding, and this is how we're going to do it.
I love that. I love that. So I have to ask, excuse me, how did you get in this business? Oh,
Wow.
wait, she says, Allie and Zach's wedding was epic. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Thank you. I used to, so it all started back, and when people usually go say it all started back when, it's a
Back in-
long story. I try to make it, I'll make it quick. But I'm originally from Chicago, and I worked for United Airlines. I worked for United Airlines for 20 years. And so in working with United for 20 years ago, the services that the airlines provided was different than what they are now. I mean, I was working
Oh, yes.
for them when they came through the aisle and carved the steaks, provided the hot towels and things like that before your meals. And so when I worked at United, my mind went back to my childhood and obviously my parents going out to all of these affairs dressed in their black tie and long ball gowns. And
Oh,
I would always imagine where they going, where they going. So the next time I saw black folks in tuxedos and long ball gowns was at the Lou Rawls Parade of Stars telethon. And
oh.
so then I couldn't afford to buy a ticket to get into the room of the telethon. But you know what I learned to do? I learned to volunteer my time.
Volunteer. Yes, indeed.
And
Right
so
there in the house.
I
Absolutely.
volunteered. I would go to the Hyatt Hotel, answer phones, the Ross Parade. How much did you donate? That's what I would
Exactly.
do. And so when I started working at United, I would volunteer when United would sponsor different events, whether it was a walkathon or a dinner or what have you. And then I always began to get called to be the person to represent United at different events and volunteering. Now, I didn't know that during that time that was crafting me for what I'm going to do today. So went to college, graduated from Long Beach State University. My major was marketing and international business. And so basically what I do now is just utilize my marketing degree, my experience from United Airlines to plan events because it's all transferable skills.
Yes.
My last job at United was being a part of the team that created the self-check-in kiosk, which was just the vision. There was no reference of how to. No, it was nothing before it, so we didn't have any reference, but we had to make it happen.
Okay.
And so when I did that, I was like, okay. So the good end part of that story was we deployed the self-check-in kiosk on September 1st. 10 days later, September 11th happened. And so, which means that, with us having 2 aircrafts affected by that, and the world was going to change forever, it left me looking for a job. And I was asking God as I was tying a ribbon on an invitation from one of my high school classmates, what can I do to make money? It doesn't feel like I'm working and I would really enjoy it. And it just went off like that. Try event planning.
Now, William, I do understand that part right there because I pride myself on freelancing my way through New York, asking that very question. And, they would always say, is this child going to get a job? And it'd be like, well, no.
Right.
Create a job.
Yeah,
and,
right.
As you know, I told you I had especially different wedding services.
Right.
And so I planned weddings in New York, have done it here in California, and I'm working on a wedding that I will do on April 27th. Shout out to Sammy and Stasia. And I ran into them and did not know, I never met them in person. I actually met them because Sammy invited me and hired me to be on some panels during the pandemic.
Okay.
Mental health and all of that. And on one of the panels was a young lady that I had spoken to who was an MFT like myself, also working on her doctorate like myself. And we just kind of talked a lot. And I was thinking about hiring her. And then we lost contact. I ran into them at a therapist conference and they were sitting in front of me. And so I didn't see their faces. And I got up and asked a question, said my name. And I saw them respond, react then. And I thought they just thought my name was cute or something. Turns out when it ended, they turned around and said, Sean LeRae, it's Sammy and Stasia. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because we had never again met in person.
Right.
And I said, well, what have you guys been up to? Blah, blah, blah. And they were like, well, one of the things is getting married. And I said, what? Getting married? I didn't even know you were a couple. And so then I said, oh, yeah, I love weddings. I used to coordinate weddings. And they go, do you want to coordinate ours? And I was like, I haven't. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So here I am back in business. Now, I did say to William at the wedding of Allie and Zach that I want to apprentice with him. And so we will work on that. What did Miss Lanny say? Lanny said, William P. Miller, you are a special event. Love your journey.
Thank you, Lanny. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I love finding out how things came to be.
That's how it came to be. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want y'all out there to listen because this went all the way back to your childhood.
It did.
Started to your love affair with dressing up and with that idea of ballroom and that and opportunity met what's the other word? I guess opportunity met
prepared. Yeah, being prepared.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you know what? But I would say that a big part of understanding, where one is today is about doing the work and connecting the dots from your childhood. So,
right.
it just took me to go back to say, because sometimes when things are happening, you don't understand why they're happening. But then later on, you can go back and say, I understand why I had to go through that, or I understand why I had that experience, so that's where I am today. So 100%. Even when I worked for United, I was traveling all over the world, and it gave me an opportunity to see cultures. It gave me an opportunity to experience first class, and it gave me the experience to find out what I didn't know and how to make it happen. And so a lot of that is, kind of like same type of skills that I do today.
Absolutely. I love that connection. And I recognize too, in all the things that I did in New York, the figuring out how to do this, the experiencing that, the making jewelry, all the things, the resource consulting, the shopping, all of the things that I have done make me a good therapist.
Absolutely will.
A little bit of everything.
It will be. Yes, exactly. It will. Yes.
I love it. Well, I want to show you boss talkers some of William's work. Now, you might recognize a person or two here. So let me start pulling up. Well, first, let's start with this one. Let me go to, here we go. Let's see.
Let me get my glasses. Just
so we'll start with Miss Allie. Uh-oh, that's not the one, but here's one. This is can y'all see that? That's ET Event Therapy Magazine. I need to know about that. So if you can read it, it says special tribute, Niecy Nash, Shirley Ralph, and Hollywood celebrities talk William P. Miller special events and relationship sustainability, addressing mental health in the event and entertainment industry. So that's what this magazine is about, huh?
Yeah, you know what? I would say, during the pandemic, we all had different experiences. We got a chance to meet new people. And I met this beautiful lady on the Clubhouse platform. And,
love Clubhouse.
She knew me, and Clubhouse gave you almost accessibility to people who you've always wanted to contact with, but now you're hearing this voice and they're on there. And so we met and we connected, we talked more. And so her magazine is was really geared more towards event professionals, and basically how do you provide a balance of for your mental health and still being a service provider for so many people, because when
Hmm.
you are a service provider, it's draining because you have to be on. When I go outside to the store or to a concert, if people see me as William the event planner, I have to be on to an extent
Right.
to say that, you know, uh, you want to treat everybody in a respectful way, make them feel like, that they're most important at that moment. But then who's helping to take care of me? When I
Right.
go home, and you know what? And this is an interesting topic to talk about on Valentine's Day, because I ain't got I ain't got nothing for Valentine's yet. who's,
See?
who's taking care of you on Valentine's
Exactly.
Day?
On Valentine's Day.
But this is the funniest thing, is that when I think about it, this is the first year in about 3 years when I have Valentine's available to myself. I am going to do something a little later, but generally I'm out putting together an experience for a couple so that they can have
Uh,
a fantastic evening. And after that's done, then I'm just going on home, to my, by myself.
right. And see, there's the idea of balance,
Of
right?
balance, right? And so the
Yes.
magazine offers a lot of great stories on that, and tools of how we can get in touch with ourselves and just become better people. Because the other thing to it is that if you don't take care of yourself, if I'm not in my right mind, it's difficult for me to offer the best that I can to my clients.
Mm-hmm.
So when she asked
Absolutely.
me to be a cover of that, I was like, absolutely, I'd be more than happy to. And then she was like, "Well, you have all of these clients. How do you keep these clients?" And I was like, "Well, I don't advertise. Um,
Love that.
I'm more about establishing great relationships." But that's a part of that marketing degree, because there's a
Hmm.
difference between selling yourself and marketing yourself.
Yes, indeed.
So
Oh my goodness. Mr. Seals, did you hear that?
big difference between selling yourself and marketing yourself. And so when you market yourself properly, you establish long-term relationships, um, there's not a need to advertise.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, whose wedding is this, pray tell? Is this a wedding?
Now I can't see. I only
You can't
see
see it? What are you seeing now?
me and me.
Oh, okay. All right. So let me go back. I gotta go in and out. Let me go back over here. And how about this? Let's do it this way. Nope, let's not do it that way, apparently. Okay, here we go. Okay, this one.
Oh, so that's a little wedding that no one knew about. It was a big wedding with 24 guests, and this was happened during the pandemic. It was a COVID wedding,
Oh
and
wow.
it was a COVID wedding. 24 guests were invited to come to this event, and it ended up being Niecy Nash's wedding to her and Jessica Betts. Yeah.
Oh wow. So it was a big, you said a big little wedding, huh?
Yeah, it was little in terms of it was 24 guests, but then I get that question. I get a question asked all the time, what is the biggest event that you've done? I'm like, well, big depends on who's sitting at the table.
Wow, there you go.
And so for this one here, there were 24 guests there, and very few people knew that it was going to be a wedding taking place. And
I
so
love
for
that.
that, one of the things that was important for me is to make sure that secret not, get out there,
Yes.
or that story is not told. And it was not my story to tell. It was Niecy's and Jessica to tell. And when they told the story that they got married, it actually broke the internet.
Yeah. My gosh. Now let's pull up another one. I think this is from the same wedding.
Probably a different angle.
Yeah, but it's a beauty. Now, was this at home for them?
Oh yeah, okay. So this was in their backyard, and so it's interesting when we talk about knowing the dynamics of your clients and the people, the gatekeepers. So this tree, when I saw that tree, I was like, oh man, that would look really nice with roses cascading down it. Now
Hmm.
I've done events for Niecy for years, and I know that she was like, "I'm not paying for no flowers."
That's
Going up and
hilarious.
down a tree.
I can hear her saying it. I can hear her voice.
She's like, no, I'm not doing that because she's also not a person. She's an actress, so she can recite them. And congratulations on her Emmy win. She can do what actors do. But with me, I can vision it, but I don't always have the
Uh-oh.
gift to translate what I'm thinking to someone else so that they can understand it. But when
Uh-huh.
she came out the door, because she saw us at her house, and she saw us setting up, and so one of my tricks I always ask hair and makeup, keep them in the chair a little bit longer.
Uh-huh,
So,
uh-huh, while I do my thing.
I do my thing. And so Mila kept her in the chair. When she came out, she was like, oh my God, it was big, it was more than what she was expecting. You know,
Oh, it was
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, under promise and over deliver.
That's what I'm talking about. Now this is gorgeous. And it also, that tree in the back, that those flowers on that tree made it pop from this angle.
Right. So now this is interesting though, because the owlway was probably one of the more expensive components on it. And so when you're dealing with someone like a Diva Nisa, she's like, oh no, I'm not gonna walk on the grass. So I was like, oh good.
There you go. There you
She said,
go.
I'm not walking on the grass. I said, well, good, we need to build a runway walkway. So it was great. And so we actually we had a design and adorned with we wrapped it and so that it can complement the event. And it was like I said,
Wow.
it was a great experience.
So now that floor is made of what?
It's wood. That floor was built.
Wood. And
So
you built wood and
underneath,
then you wrapped it with that beautiful, are those orchids or something? The
well,
flower.
okay. So the first part of it is that we put the wood down on the floor, but then we have a graphic artist. We work with the graphic artist to come up with the design that's going to be on the runway.
Hmm.
So, and it was somewhat curated in terms of we wanted the flower on the lower right to be like 4 steps behind the one in the middle on the left. And then we flanked the owlways with ferns and it was sort of a rustic chic vibe. That's what they were looking
Yes.
for, right?
Oh, I
I
love
don't know
it.
if you can really see it in the back, but a part of the things that they did for their love story, there's a swing, like
Swing set
yeah, a
right there.
swing right there. And so that was s- became an integral part of their wedding because whenever they needed to have talks or conversation, they would go to the swing and have them.
Oh, I love it. I
And
love it.
so then, and of course, we brought the other decor, like with the linen-less tables and cane-back chairs, to really bring out their vibe. Now, the
I think
unfortunate part,
there's a photo I'm going to show now of the
okay,
swing because I love it.
yeah, the swing was really beautiful.
So go ahead. You were saying something.
I was going to say the unfortunate part of it, and this is why you have to do things when you're going to do them. That tree, as beautiful as it was, when we had a windstorm, it blew the tree down.
No, recently?
Yeah, about maybe a year ago
Oh, but after the wedding.
after the wedding. But
Wow.
they
Look at
still have that swing that reminds them of that day.
that. Wow.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. So there's that swing. I love that.
Mhm. Yeah.
That. Okay. So let's see what other goodies we have over here. Oh, this is a good one. Let's see.
You and your team have done your work. You guys are really, really great.
Thank you. We love. And so here we go. Now that's a beautiful one too. Look at that one. Mm,
Uh,
what a
so
real one here.
this was towards the beginning and the start of what's to come today. There's the actress, Emmy winner Shirley Ralph, and her husband Vincent Hughes, and they got married. And I had already worked with Mira Sorvino, who's an
Mm,
Academy Award winner,
yes.
for a wedding before that. And the story behind this was that someone I knew had mentioned that Cheryl was getting. Okay, let me go all the way back. I got to go all the way back in order to make this make sense.
Okay.
One of the events that United was a sponsor of was Shirley's Ralph Diva Simply Singing.
Oh, yes.
And the person that authorized United to sponsor that event was a colleague and someone who I knew. We were both from Chicago. So when the event was being held in Los Angeles and they needed volunteers to help at the event, I was one of the persons that raised my hand.
Mm.
So then, fast forward years later, a friend of mine that does hair said, "Oh, Shirley Ralph is getting married. You should try to connect with her." And I was like, "Okay, how do I make that happen?"
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you, Sean LeRae, the next day, not a week, next week, I was downtown Los Angeles, going to a store to that sells crystals and stuff for invitations, and I felt somebody over me, and I looked over my shoulder, and it was Shirley Ralph. And
Oh,
she
my
said, "How are
goodness.
you?" And I was like, "How are you?" But the lead in for me to have a conversation with her was to say, "We have our mutual friend together, Georgina Hurd."
Uh-huh.
So that got her attention. I told her about me participating as a volunteer for Diva Simply Singing, but then I was also prepared. I had a disc of some of my work in my hand, and I gave it to her, and it was a DVD. And this is, I don't know if you remember the era when cars had the DVD players. You could put them.
Yes, yes.
She went to her car, played it, and I got a call probably 7 minutes later asking me to meet her at her house that evening. And from that evening, we end up planning a wedding that Entertainment Tonight described as the most fabulous wedding of the season.
Ooh, I love that.
And in that wedding, in terms of establishing relationships, of course, Shola and I are really close friends today. But through that, I had the opportunity to meet and work with like Loretta Devine, Jennifer Lewis, Patti LaBelle, Victoria Raoul. All
Wow.
of these people were her bridesmaids, but they
Oh
ended
my
up becoming
gosh.
friends and clients.
I love
She was
it.
the one that gave me a green light and said yes.
Lenny said, no way. Oh, let's see what they're saying. Sora Terry says, what a beautiful vision you have in delivering for your client.
Well,
That
it's you have to deliver. You have to deliver. I mean, I've learned that you have to keep your mouth shut, keep your ears open. You can't
Mhm.
tell everything that you know.
That's
Um,
right.
you never know who knows who. And like I said, you got to under promise and over deliver.
I love it. Lanny says, amazing. Mr. Seal says, quantum physics is at play. Absolutely. The attraction.
Now,
Lanny,
I don't even know what that means.
he be deep. He be very deep. What it means is that the small little things keep moving.
Oh, okay. Detail. Okay, I understand that. Yeah, I can understand it in a creative way.
Yes, there you go. Lanny says, humana, humana. That's her way of saying, dang. She says, on point.
Yeah.
And I just really, Lanny says, I was just dreaming on the WP website.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Now I must show my beautiful nieces. Where did it go? For heaven's sakes. All right, let me start closing windows. So I need to find that one. I love how you are the perfect example of that whole idea of relationship sustainability, because you have to be in a place where people know, like, and trust you, and want to share your name with others and want to help you meet and connect with the people that are your assignment, because I
Mhm.
believe it's already set up that
Mhm.
way, right? And
Right.
you standing in your truth of integrity and kindness and excellence is what moves you into the spaces. And I just love that so much.
Okay. And I just have to be, true and transparent. I will have my moments. I
Don't
want to
tell
be
me,
clear that
don't tell me you become the wedding planner.
I don't want to sound like I'm the yes man all the time with them. Some of the clients are like, no, I'm not doing that.
I love it. And you hired me for a reason,
You
because
hired
that's
me for a
great.
reason, so I'll go over there and sit down and be quiet.
And I'm not gonna let you play yourself like
No,
that.
right. Yes,
I
no,
love it.
that's not going to happen. You're not going to have me doing this something that's crazy, and your guests are looking at me foolish. No, that's not going to happen.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Let me save you from yourself.
Yes, exactly.
So, Boss Talkers, this is from Allie Callie's wedding. And if you can look at just every little detail that is in the table settings, in everything. And I love this story. So Vanessa said that Allie said, now there's one thing that has to be, I don't want to walk out and see any chicken on those plates.
So,
They need to be able to see my place setting.
uh, so,
No, salad. That's what it was. It was salad.
it was salads because a lot of times when you go to events, they have already salads are generally preset.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh no! I want them to see the china and everything that I selected." And we actually did spend about 2 hours. We went on 2 occasions but she wanted everything to be perfect to her liking, but perfect for her guests to experience.
Yes. Now,
And
did it get bigger just now?
it did just get bigger.
Okay, I'm trying to see so you guys can see those place settings. And this was my seat right here, if you can see my cursor. That was me.
You had a good seat.
I had great seat, a great seat. And this was mother and grandmothers and all of that. And auntie was right there.
I think that was table 12.
Yes, it was. It sure was. It
Yeah,
sure was.
have to know that room backwards and forwards. Now, this look here was one of the 3 that we selected. So this had, if you could, if they could look at the plates, they'll see that it's sort of like it's an abstract design on the plates.
Yes.
We had those glasses with the mirror tables, and
Love them.
but we had to, go there and make sure the tables are going to fit, that the guests is going to be comfortable in their seating,
Now,
and
I also remember that the chairs were changed out.
there were 3 different chairs
Uh-huh.
at the wedding. So again, through with me, I like to add excitement in my wedding. So I don't generally just have one look throughout. I might use 3 table linen. I might use 3 chairs and just make it interesting. When you walk in a room like this, it should be a conversation. Ooh, what was yours? What was
Oh
this?
my gosh,
And
it so was.
Yeah, people like to have that. A lot of people put a lot of emphasis on the food, and I always tell people that if the food is the best experience that you're going to have to offer at an event that's not a dinner party, you have to go back to the drawing board because we all experience foods and our tastes are different. But
Yeah.
in this case, the food was good, the room looked good, people felt good, everyone had a good time, which makes for a great experience.
Yes. So William says that he actually has the law of attraction working on his behalf. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
And Letty just says, love it.
Well, thank you.
So William, I just have to tell you,
Mhm.
this has got me all excited, and this was the best conversation to have on Valentine's Day. Absolutely. So I always like to ask my guests to share a little nugget that you want to leave with the Boss Talkers. So is there something that you want to share?
Well, let's see, if I was to particularly speak about weddings or an event, I always tell my brides, choose to enjoy the journey of the planning process. Choose to enjoy your day.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, choose to let your guests be guests. Let's not have a situation where you're asking your auntie to make the potato salad, your sister to grill the chicken. Time is not coordinated and things are not going to work together, because at least the things not working together, which could lead to a very challenging day for you, which is supposed to be one of the most important days of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yes.
say choose to have a good, choose to enjoy the process, and by that, go through and eliminate any stressors. If you got a
Mm-hmm.
sister or brother who you're on edge with, you love them, but you might be on edge with, don't have them a part of your special day. Don't
Exactly.
give them a task to do that you know that if it's not done right, it's going to have an effect on you, your guests. Don't have them a part of that. And it's okay to say no. You can't be a part. That's not a bad thing. But I have a good friend. I kind of, of course, I'm good friend of mine, Pastor Card out of Dallas, Texas. Each time she was pregnant, when she would go into labor, the first thing she did, put her makeup on, all about a week before her due date, made sure her hair was probably braided neatly, because she said she wanted to look beautiful to welcome her child into the world.
I love
But
that.
that's a conscious choice that she made,
Mm-hmm.
and she went through the steps to welcome her child into the world. And that has a different connotation. Welcome your child into the world instead of, oh, I'm going into labor to give birth.
Right. Right. I love that. I love that. Choose to enjoy the journey of the planning process.
Yeah.
Choose to enjoy your day. Choose to let your guests be guests.
Yeah.
Ah, that's a beautiful thing. Well, William, we're coming to the end of this conversation. I have
Well,
so enjoyed chatting with you today.
well, thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm so grateful to be here and spend this Valentine's Day with you. we're
Yes.
gonna have to find we're gonna have to find a reason to pop some champagne.
Yes, we will. We
We have
definitely
to think
will.
about what reasons could those be.
Now you know. I love it.
Great. But can I ask your audience to stay in touch with me on Instagram at
Yes, absolutely. And there you'll find him, you all, right there.
yeah.
And you know that you can go back to this show anytime and get these links out of the show. But you can go ahead and copy and paste them right now. Go ahead and click on them. It'll take you right to William P. Miller.
All right.
And Gigi said, "This is awesome. Your work is breathtaking." Also, I did the same thing while
Oh, see?
I love that.
Thank you
And
so
he turned out to be an attorney, so it must be.
Is that right?
Hey, sis, it's good to see you. I
Right.
love you.
Great. Well, thank
Yes,
you so much. I really
thank
appreciate it.
you.
I
Thank
look forward
you.
to seeing and being in touch with you. Okay.
Absolutely. Don't you go nowhere.
Okay.
Hey, y'all, if you want to connect with me, Shawn LaRae, you know my website for coaching is livinglovedcoaching.com, and for therapy is livinglovedhealing.org. If you don't know the difference between the two, holler at your girl. I'll get you straight on that. You can find me on Facebook at Living Loved Healing, and the same on Instagram. And I have that nonprofit, the William Joseph Brinkley Center for Cultural Affirmation, and you can find me there at wjbcenter.com. And let's see what the rest of the folks are saying as we play my theme song, because y'all know I love my theme song. And shout out to Wayne Lindsay and his beautiful daughter, Alana Lindsay, for my song. William, stick around and jam out with me.
I love Wayne Lindsay.
Yes, he's the best. Come on.
One of a kind.
been Boss Talk with your girl Shonda Ray, and we will see you next Wednesday. That's Pose, one of a kind sex with superstars, and that's true. In the meanwhile, y'all know what to do. Live love and shalom, y'all.